to everyone. At long last, after all the training sessions, after all of the emails, the forms, we've reached a day where we're finally going to start the HPC in the City Hackathon. I don't know about y'all, but I am thrilled, excited, and tired at the same time.
Yay!
So many reasons.
For so many reasons. So today's agenda, for those of you that came prepared, ready to work, you're going to have a little bit of work today. The little bit of work today focuses on us really getting to know each other a little bit and building our teams and ensuring you have time to think about your project before you actually start the hard work tomorrow. Or I should say the fun work. That's the way we say it, right, Charlie?
Say
it. We're going to start the fun work tomorrow. So we're going to have a couple of introductions, including a welcome by the students at SC Chair, Christine Harvey. We're going to have our hackathon objective, which those of you that have been in training sessions, you've seen that before. We're going to go over our ethics a little bit because we want to make sure we're communicating with each other online, and we want to make sure that everyone is safe and taken care of. And then we get to do our dice breaker, which is going to be interesting, to say the least. We'll go over our deliverables and resources just to make sure everyone knows what is expected and general information. And a little bit about the schedule. Most of you have seen it, but just to make sure everyone's good to go, we'll have our mentor project overviews. They're going to be showing 1 to 2 slides within 2 to 3 minutes max, to try to get you to help them with their project. And we'll say more about that later. And then we'll actually get into forming our teams. So let's get going. So first of all, I would be remiss if I didn't introduce everyone that's been on the organizing committee. From Alex Nolt, who is actually in Estonia. So you will, right now, it is very, very early in the morning for him. So you will not be seeing him until tomorrow morning. Amy Cannon, who's here from Omnibond. Wait for us, Amy.
Hello.
Boyd Wilson, who is also going to be one of our mentors. Boyd, are you there? If he's waving.
Hello, I'm waving.
There we go.
I'm muting.
We have Dr. Linda Hayden of ECSU, or as I like to say, Mama Number 2.
Hey, everybody. Hello, welcome.
One person that I don't have here is also Josh Kissel. Josh is the guy that I bugged to death about the website. Josh, if you wouldn't mind saying hi. He's also going to be one of our staffers.
Hi, welcome. Excited to be here.
And then you have me, the one that bugs you to death. My name is Jamie Powell, or Jamie, and I will be herding cats for the next couple of days. But the important thing is all of us are here to help you. As you see, all of us have these green backgrounds to let you know that we're here to assist you. By all means, you can communicate with us through email, on Slack directly, any way you need to if there are any issues in which we can assist. And now what I'd like to do is introduce Ms. Christine Harvey. Ms. Christine Harvey is actually the Students at SC Chair this year for SC20. Now, many of you have never been to the SC20 conference. Generally speaking, to put this in your mind, there are thousands of people that gather together in host cities, and this year it would have been Atlanta. Of course, that was adjusted because of the current pandemic. But it's a very, very large conference with a lot of moving parts, with many, many students. But even with that, SC has actually offered us something special that I'll tell you about a little bit later. But I also wanted to give her the opportunity to say hello to you. So what I'm going to do, Christine, is I'm actually going to stop my share. Oop, and allow you to take over.
And here, I believe everyone can see the screen. Can somebody give me a verbal confirmation?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so if you can, I'll go to menti.com and you can enter this code 6407041. I've got some questions. I'd like to just kind of hear what y'all think and get some feedback from you. Okay, and then this is going to stay at the top of the screen, and I'll kind of go through and do a welcome. So thank you, Jamie, for the introduction, and thank you all for putting on this event. This is just really exciting. I think Jamie and Amy and I have been talking for a few years about bringing this to SC and making it more part of the conference. And you know, COVID has absolutely been horrible, but I think that one of the really fantastic things that's come out of this is the fact that we're able to integrate this into the conference, and you all will be able to, you know, not just get to do the hackathon, but as soon as this is over, you get to attend SC for 2 weeks. So I think that that's really exciting. And I put a link in the chat earlier, and then you will all be getting, I think, a lot more emails from me. I've got a list of highlights at SC that I think you should all check out, things like our speed mentoring program and job fair. So you should see that soon. So here we go. This is my hackathon welcome slides. Oh, I've already got some nice emojis. Awesome. Okay. How do we keep going? Oh, there's even more. This is great. Okay, so Jamie mentioned I'm Christine Harvey. I'm an HPC engineer at the MITRE Corporation. I think Jamie had my low city as San Jose, California. So we're actually some of those people that fled big cities. So after COVID hit, my partner got to work from home. I was already a teleworker, so we made a break for the Midwest. So now I live in Lincoln, Nebraska. I literally am surrounded by cornfields all the time. It's great. People here are so nice, so I'm enjoying it, but it's been a big change. I'm the Students at SC20 chair, which has been a really fantastic opportunity. It has been probably one of the most challenging things I think I've done, trying to convert this to an online format and switch everything over. So I appreciate Jamie making this event a reality with SC, and I think Jamie's been along for all my meetings, and we've both been pulling our hair out this whole time. So it's been, you know, it's really rewarding to see all this come together. A little bit about me. I've been attending SC since 2010. So this, I've got a full decade of attending SC under my belt. I love the conference. You know, I hope you guys enjoy getting to attend the virtual conference, and then eventually one day I hope to see you all here in person. And a little bit more about me. I'm a fitness fanatic. I'm really into weightlifting and things like that. I like to go running. I like anything with numbers. And I'm an okay. So now I would love to learn a little bit about you all. So I think I've got a question coming up. Okay, so who are you? So you can go ahead and type into Menti, tell me a little bit about yourself. You can say if you're an undergrad, if you also like running, anything like that. I'd love to hear who all of you are on this call that are participating in the hackathon. And then mentors too, please, you know, tell me who you are. I don't see anything yet, so I'm gonna, it looks like people are typing though, maybe. Okay, dog mom, ooh, ham radio nerd, I like it. Systems admin at TAC, I feel like that's Jamie. Computational engineer, Vanessa, computer science. Oh, awesome, PC gamer, professors, someone drowning in homework. Oh, this is great. Oh, very cool. Oh boy, all sorts of people. Oh, a roller skater. Oh, that's fantastic. I keep seeing, I watch a lot of Instagram videos of people roller skating. I do not myself, but I really like watching people videos of other people roller skating. All right. Oh, baking, biology. Oh, I love baking. Very excited to see you all. Okay, education, all sorts of good stuff. Somebody's tired. Same. It's been a long week. Okay, thank you so much. Oh, I love this. I want to read them all, but I should keep going with my orientation. Oh, okay. So thank you. And I think I've got all this. So I might actually send this to Jamie. Somebody prefers biking to running. Man, I can't bike. I do like how fast it is, though. I like getting places a little bit faster. So next, you know, what is your conference experience? So I think Jamie mentioned many of you have not been to SC before, but let me know if you've attended SC. Have you attended another conference, or is this going to be kind of your very first conference experience? Quite a few of you have been to SC. I'm going to kind of guess a lot of those are mentors, but I'm not sure. Some other, I'd be fascinated. Maybe people can type in the chat what other conferences they've attended. A lot of you are in none. Wow, okay. So virtual conference is certainly going to be different, but I think you'll all enjoy what we have to offer for SC. There's a really fantastic program. I think it might, I feel overwhelmed at SC a lot of the time, and I've been coming for a long time. So don't let that feeling get to you. That's how I think all of us end up feeling. Okay. All right, so you're attending SC. What should you do? What do you do at a conference? A lot of you, it's your first time here. So my 3 big tips are, learn something new, make a connection, and find your next opportunity. So SC has a ton of things for you to learn. I mean, you could watch these videos for the next few months and you couldn't learn everything there is. So, select things, pick them wisely. If you make a wrong choice and you don't understand the session, just leave. No one's gonna watch you walk out of the room. Just exit out and go to something else that sounds a little bit more fun. There's a technical program that includes papers, panels, BOFs, tutorials, workshops. There's going to be a really fantastic keynote. There's all sorts of really smart people here. The students at SC sessions, I'll have a link for those and all these emails you'll be getting from me, but we've got sessions specifically for students covering things like dealing with microaggressions at work or finding a career in HPC. How do you get your research funded, things like that. And then we also have the keynote, plenary, and awards. And these are really just sessions to see, it's a little bit more accessible content. I would think of it as something that you could show like, your mom or your little sister, and they'd be able to get on board with a lot of the keynote and plenary content too. It's really high level. So my next tip, make a connection. So there's all sorts of networking stuff. I think you all, for the hackathon, you have your own Slack channel. There's a students at SC Slack channel too that I'll invite you all to. There's Discord, there's some networking built into Cadmium CD, which is the conference platform. We're also going to have speed mentoring. You'll get an invitation for that. That'll be a really cool way to meet somebody, a potential mentor in the area, and you go talk to them for 15 minutes. If you make a good connection, great, hang out with them more. If not, you move on to the next potential mentor. There will be posters, which will come from other students and then also professionals in the area. And then we'll also have some alumni sessions where we'll have people that used to attended the conference as a student talk about their experience and how they were able to make the best out of it. And then my last piece of advice is just find your next opportunity. So there's exhibits. You're going to see like the best and coolest. I mean, I'm astounded by the companies in the exhibit floor at SC. You won't actually get to walk through their booth and look at all the blinky lights on their exhibits, but you're going to go to the virtual exhibit floor. There's going to be a job fair, and there's going to be resume and pitch workshops too. So there's going to be opportunities for you to kind of work on these things so you can take your experience at this hackathon and really use it to build your next opportunity. So that's what I want you to do. How do you actually do it? So my tips are plan your schedule. Go ahead now and look at the SC schedule and try to figure out what you want to do at the conference. Maybe only pick like one thing per day that you make sure that you're sure you want to go to. Make sure that's on your schedule so you don't miss it. Engage. Don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone. It can be intimidating going to something like a resume workshop and putting your life's work on a piece of paper in front of somebody and have them judge you for it. But it's okay. We've all been there. I actually started to try to look at my old resume once, and I gave up on it because I actually didn't want to know what it looked like. So people are really open to giving advice. So make sure you engage and reach out to people. That goes along with networking. There's going to be a ton of other students at the conference. Make sure you get in touch with them and try to figure out what they're all about. And the last two are more personal. So, take breaks. If you are burnt out and you're so sick of sitting in front of this computer, go on a walk. I live in Nebraska. I can't go on walks outside. It's too cold here now, but if you're somewhere nice, go outside, walk around your apartment building, put your mask on, whatever you got to do, just get away from the computer for a little bit if you have to. And the last thing I think goes along with Jamie, what Jamie will talk about in a little bit, but at MITRE, they always talk about grace and respect. So especially with COVID and this online environment, I think a lot of times we assume the worst about people, and we can assume bad things, and just try to assume the best in everybody. Try to give people a break, and just try to show as much respect for everybody else as you can. You don't know what anyone else is going through. You don't know what their day's been like. Just because somebody else says something negative doesn't mean you need to as well. If you feel uncomfortable, tell someone. But just try to assume the best in everybody. We're all here to help each other out and make a really great community. So assume the best. We're not going to do great all the time. But I think we can all really try. Okay, so resources. So there's Google Calendar. It's bit.ly, link is right there, 3MJGITA will get you to the full Google Calendar of students at SC stuff. I like to duplicate events on the calendar that I think are cool and make sure they're on my calendar. This is our Cadmium CD page in the bottom left. In the top right, we've got our students at SC page. Every change we make and everything we add to the program, it's all going to be on this website. I email our website admin like 3 times a day, and I am not his favorite person. So make his and my time worthwhile and actually check out these pages. There's lots of cool activities here for you. And then if you want to follow us on social media, almost all of our handles are going to be at StudentsSC. And that I think is all the content I have, but I would love to have ask one final question of you all, and I'll tell you my goal afterwards. But what is your goal for SC20? I would love to kind of hear what you're all planning on accomplishing. I guess probably win the hackathon for some of you. I think I talked to my mentee about this earlier, and I think I told her that mine was just to survive. Yeah. Yes, survive, but what is my goal? I just want to be able to feel like students learned something. That's just my goal, is to feel like, people got something out of this. And I think we'll get there. So, experience, meet smart people, network, and have fun. I've actually never done a hackathon. I should do a hackathon so I can experience a hackathon. Better networking skills. Whoever said better networking skills, there is the pitch workshop that we're having on Thursday next week. There's actually 2 times in different time zones. I would totally recommend going to that because they're going to have a lot of tips about how to summarize your research quickly. Learn something new, job hunting. Yes, survive and thrive with ice cream and coffee. Yes, I feel that. Pretty good. Design an HPC course, learn. All right. So this is really great. That is all I have for my introduction. Thank you, Jamie, for giving me this time, and thank you all to the hackathon team for all your hard work, and to the mentors too for volunteering your time to do this. And finally, I apologize for my horrible network connection and for just having to watch me for so long try to unmute myself. That was painful for everyone, especially me. So thank you for your patience and your grace and respect during that time. Thank you all. Good luck. Have a great conference.
Thank you so much, Christine. We really appreciate it. So I want to put something out there just to let you all know. One of the prizes that's actually being given for the Impact Award will actually include SE21 full registrations for the team. And that prize is being provided by the SE20 committee. And we really appreciate that in combination with Exceed. So thank you so much. And also you notice there's some tech tattoos that came in your boxes. For those of you that their boxes haven't gotten caught up in the mail, those of course were also provided by the SE team. So thank you so much. And thanks for being there for us, Christine. So having said that, let us carry on, move forward. So everyone here kind of has an idea about what's going on with HP in the city as far as an objective. Prior to me getting into this, I want to go over a little bit of the ethics. Again, we are on calls all day with each other, in each other's homes, basically. So we want to make sure that we know what's expected of us. So what I'm going to do without further ado is I'm going to stop my share and restart it with the sound turned on so that you all can actually hear the code of ethics. Now, the code of ethics itself can also be found on the HPC site. So if you go to HPC and we click on the HPC and the City Hack Hub, and the code of conduct is the first thing listed here, and this information can be found there. But let me stop the share and restart it with the sound on, because I always forget to hit the share sound when we need to. And it is this one. There we go. And back to this. All right. Now, the voice you're going to hear is actually that of Mr. Alex Nultes. Now, Alex, again, like I said, is actually in Estonia. He's a part of our organizing team. And right now, he is likely asleep because of the time difference, but you will get to meet him. He is a very, very interesting character that I've worked with for a few years now, and well, you'll hear.
Hi, and thank you again for participating in Hack at Perk 2020. Our goal is for all of you to have a great time and to work on exciting projects with you. To make sure the hackathon will be an enjoyable experience for you all, we developed a code of conduct. In the next few minutes, I will walk you through the most important points of the code. You can also find it on the hackathon website. The URL is depicted in this slide. We are an inclusive event that welcomes all people, no matter their age, gender, skin color, ethnicity, nationality, religion, or background. We are dedicated to provide a harassment-free environment to everybody, and we do not tolerate harassment in any form. We expect all hackathon participants, sponsors, partners, volunteers, and staff to comply with this code of conduct. The hackathon staff may take any action they deem appropriate if the code is violated. Potential actions include sanctions, expelling people from the hackathon, or contacting law enforcement. Harassment includes, but it's not restricted to, audio-video recording against reasonable consent, sustained disruption of talks or other events, and unwelcome sexual attention. Furthermore, sexual language and imagery is not appropriate during the hackathon at any time. If a situation makes you feel uncomfortable, if you witness someone being harassed, or if you are a victim of harassment yourself, please contact a member of the hackathon staff immediately. They will be distinguishable by their names on Slack, and you can find their contact information on the hackathon GitHub page. You are of course welcome to take pictures and videos and share them during or after the hackathon. You should, however, keep in mind to give people a reasonable chance to opt out of a photo, and you should only take photos when appropriate. Before taking a photo, ask yourself if you would like someone taking a picture of you in that situation. Everyone should also be aware about where you place yourself during conference calls and ensure that no one else than you is visible. We hope that these rules help us all to have an enjoyable hackathon. Good luck. Ethnicity, nationality, religion.
And thank you, Alex. So having said that, please be respectful of everyone. If there are any questions, you may contact any one of us on the organizing committee. Again, our contact information is available on Hack HPC. So we're under info and information. We're also available, or about us. We're also available on that HPC in the City Hack Hub. And when you go there, you can go to the organizing committee information, or just scroll down and there we are. All of our information is there, as well as we're available inside of Slack. You can contact us directly if there are any incidents or anything that you feel needs to be taken care of. Now that we've gotten all that done, we can start talking about the hackathon itself. So the way the hackathon started initially, and let me make sure here, everyone's still able to see my screen and it's full screen and all that good stuff. Josh? Yes. Okay, cool. So the hackathon aims to harness the resources, skills, and knowledge found in the HPC community in an effort to provide applied exposure towards the conference host city local students from a 2 to 4 year post-secondary educational institution. In short, the hackathon will provide HPC skills and training while targeting problems that directly affect the participants. Let's say that in English. And in my words, the purpose of the hackathon is to allow those with skill sets in HPC or around HPC to take those skills and ideas and to bring in new people that may not have experienced anything in high performance computing, which is what HPC stands for, to pass those skills on, to leave a lasting impact with you. When I first learned about high performance computing, at that time it was actually called grid computing, and I attended my very first supercomputing conference, it changed my life. There's no two ways about it. From the hardware side to the software applications to the practical research side, it's just a swath of experiences and opportunities for anyone that's involved within it. We want to make sure that you all are going to actually be able to develop some understandings with about these technologies and skill sets and application. We don't expect anyone to be a professional or know it all. We're here together to work together to learn as a family. A lot of things we do in schools and things like that, we're trying to be the best. This is not about being the best. This is about taking time to learn these skills and learn things that you otherwise may not have been aware of. So you should expect to gain increased familiarity with data science in the cloud. There's actually going to be a very special event tomorrow with data carpentry with one of our specialists from TAC, as well as Charlie gave a training session last Thursday, and that's available on the website if you'd like to take a look. You're going to work with collaborative software. There's some training on that as well if you'd like to look into it, as well as develop professional communication skills. I want to say one more time, just to ensure everyone's aware. Some of you may be very, very concerned about what this hackathon is about. Here in the beginning, the hackathon is intentionally designed to be a little bit erratic. Erratic sounds right. That sound good, Boyd? Yep.
Yep, that's a good word.
And it's intentional. We don't provide but so much information because we want everyone to start off on as even a playing field as possible, so that when you start to join your groups and things, everyone is just as confused and concerned as everyone else. But I promise you, by Monday, you're going to be surprised what you turn out. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We have had fun. We have got things done. But now we need to get things done in the groups so that we can run. Does that rhyme? Yes. Does it make sense? Not really, but that's where we are today. So let's go ahead and move forward. Pass the dice breaker. And we move on to our mentor section. Now, I want you to know that we have mentors from all over the world that are actually joining us. And by all over the world, I mean America and one that is not in America. But that does count. But tonight, they're actually going to present some of the ideas that they have that they'd like your help with. Now, I want to say this up front. The mentors are going to give you they're going to give you an idea that they have or a problem that they'd like help with. If you find it interesting, make sure you make a little note to yourself who it was or what the project was, because after all of them have given their 1 minute, 1 slides, you're going to be able to choose which mentor or which group you want to join. So that's how we're going to do our team formation. Now, having said that, our teams, we don't want them to be any larger than 4 to 5 people. 4 is kind of that magic number. 4, the teams with 4 generally do really well. 3 is a lot of times is a little bit too much work. 5, someone always doesn't get to do stuff, but that 4 is perfect. So be aware that we're gonna separate you out. We may have to split some groups and things like that, but work with us. We will try to get you into your choice of group. Now, I also want to ask, are there any students that came tonight that have a project that they would like added to our list? I know we have Max and I know we have Jocelyn, but they are already prepared. All right. If there is another idea, just let us know at the end of the other mentors going. And if you can, like, quickly put something on a slide so that, you know, you aren't just looking at the camera when you talk. And we'll go from there. All right. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and drop this screen. Whoops. I'll come back to that after the mentors. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say this now. That way, after you see the mentors, you can go ahead and jump into your groups. I want to make sure everyone knows what is required of you in the hackathon. So over the next couple of days, and believe it or not, over the next 96 hours, that's what it equates out to. you're going to be picking a project, basically working from scratch, and then presenting that project on Monday at, let's see if I can do it right, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, back to 3 p.m. Pacific. And for my couple mountain people, you know where you are. It's at 4 p.m. for mountain time. But what each group's going to have to do, one, they're going to have to, if they have source code, they're going to have to create that source code with comments. The reason you want to put comments in your code is because right now you're going to be hyper focused on the project, but a month from now, you're going to be like, what the crap is this? Why did I write it? 2, you're going to have a presentation that you're going to save to PDF form. Now, inside of that presentation, you're going to want to make sure you have your team members with their names and pictures, as well as your mentor's name. You want to say in that presentation how you used HPC, high performance computing technology in the project. And then you also want to say regionally, in this case in Atlanta/Georgia, how your project impacts that area. You're going to, and then of course you'll have your demos and things like that. All of those, that PDF, your source code, are going to need to go into a GitHub repository that you all create. And then in that GitHub repository, there's a readme.md, a markdown file that you want to put a little bit of information about your project within there. There are plenty of examples on the hackhpc.org under past hacks. If you want to see some examples of GitHub pages, if you kind of want to know a little bit more about GitHub, we did do a training session on it, so you can take a look at it there. That gives you the basics, as well as there are a ton of YouTube videos, as well as people here that use GitHub daily. Your resources are going to be your mentors and specialists. Of course, we have Slack for our ad hoc communications. What that means is you can go into group huddles and things like that, send files, as you've seen we've done today, and messages back and forth. You're going to have access to the Google Cloud platform, where you can build computational systems as needed, and even made easier through the use of Cloudy Cluster. And there are training sessions on those also on the hackhpc.org site, as well as, of course, YouTube. Most commonly, for those of you that are like, I don't even know where to start. Most commonly used things are Python, the Python programming language, Jupyter Notebooks for the IDE, the platform that you work on, Node.js, HTML. And then we also have data sets. Now, the data sets are on the Hack HPC site under participate and data, but it's also on the main event site as a link there for you. And of course, you can use any data set you would prefer to use. Just to give you a heads up, tomorrow we will actually have a welcome from the CIO, so the Chief Information Officer of the city of Atlanta. So I'm really excited for him to get that information, and he'll give you a little bit more of a background on Atlanta itself. So one more time, just give me the 3 T's. Teams, 4 to 5 students. We suggest 4. You're going to have 1 primary mentor and 1 specialist or floater that goes back and forth. We know about our time. We know when the schedule exists. And we have a few topic examples here. But instead of me looking at these, let's turn it over to our mentors. And let's allow them to tell you about their projects. Now, I need my notebook and my notebook and pencil. I have to get that tea in me soon. The caffeine is going down. So out of our mentors, which mentor would like to present their project first?
I'll go ahead, Jamie.
Oh, okay. All right, and let me stop sharing so that you have control. So hailing from TAC, this is actually one of my coworkers. We work with STEM programs at TAC, working with K-12 students. And yeah, we'll hand it over here to Edgar.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So my name is Edgar Garza, and I work at the Texas Advanced Computing Center along with Jamie. We actually work together on several outreach camps over the summer. And one of the interesting things and passionate things I'm interested in is K-12 information. So how can we interact with students and provide them with better broadband access? And so that was one of the topics that was being offered. So what I'm looking for, or the problem that I'm presenting, is how can we have Atlanta area schools using GIS and hopefully user provided internet speeds to visualize and provide effective mobile internet hotspots to low income housing areas during COVID-19, because a lot of what's happening right now is the school districts are sending out buses with mobile hotspots to areas. And I would like to see if there's an efficient way of doing that based on user interaction and on using data sets such as low-income housing. Where are those located within actual schools, the amount of students that may be listed as, free or reduced lunch. So there's a lot of data sets that we can play with, but ultimately I would want to see an application or a resource to schools and school districts to be able to efficiently provide broadband access. That's it.
You're muted.
Sorry, can you hear me now? Or Jamie?
No, I was checking to see who was paying attention as I was moving my mouth.
Okay.
So thank you, Edgar. Yes, we were able to hear
Did
you.
you all hear that? Were you able to all hear that? Because
Yes,
I actually got disconnected. My AirPods got disconnected right before you were introducing me, and I was like, "Oh man, I hope I'm able to say something."
I'm telling you, Murphy's trying his best today. So that is Edgar with Atlanta K-12 broadband, correct? All right. Were there any other questions for Edgar? So meanwhile, may we have a volunteer of the next mentor?
I'll go ahead and go, Jamie.
All right. So Keisha.
Hello. Now,
Keisha is a dear friend of mine. She actually works for Seton Hospital, and she'll probably say a lot more about that. But Keisha is a character. She's definitely a sister of mine, and yeah, I'll turn it over to her. Oh, you gonna add a movie to it now, Keisha? That's how we're gonna do. Okay.
Hello, my name is Lakeisha Barlow, and I'm one of the mentors. Charlie Day is support staff, and he will be helping me to help you. I live in Austin, and this project is concerning COVID-19 and healthcare support. Some background information. My department is the internal flow pool for 12 hospitals in the greater Austin area. They're depicted on the map with the red dots, and if any of those sites are understaffed, they contact us. The flow pool has 350 staff members in 20 different roles and 9 different nurse specialties. And due to COVID, everyone is required to go to all 12 sites. After every shift, we fill out our needs and filled spreadsheet. It tells us how many needs there were, how many were filled, and how many were unfilled. The project is about database analysis. Which hospitals have the greatest needs and when, as well as two-way communication with staff. Thank you so much for listening. And welcome to HPC in the City.
Keisha.
Yes.
Keisha. That was good. I like that. That was cool.
My 1 minute slide. And that was me toning it down by 70%. I was going to be so extra.
I would love to have seen the extra, Lakeisha. Do you have like an unedited copy of the director's cut?
I can only imagine. I
mean, no, seriously.
Original.
one day I'll tell you what I was gonna do, but yeah, I was like, this is new. Want y'all to be my friends.
Okay, so are there any questions for Keisha?
And as a BT Dubs, Atlanta does have a network of about 11 hospitals similar to us. So they're probably having to do the exact same thing.
Excellent. All right. Who wants to go after that?
I would
No.
like to say that we already have one person on Lakeisha's team
Yes.
who's not here. So
I am
Yeah.
glad I went first. I'm glad I went before Lakeisha. So I'm gonna have to follow up that.
I saw Jocelyn wave, so we
I'm
will
so sorry,
open
that
the
was not my
door to our
intention, guys.
first. This is actually our first student mentor. Jocelyn, I met Jocelyn a few years ago, back when she first began to code, and she has just turned into an amazing young lady. So I'll hand the floor over to Jocelyn.
Thank you. And then just to make sure, we do have 3 minutes, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, 2 seconds and.
And again, remember to write down the project that you are interested in. You might want to do a first and second.
Hi guys, my name is Jocelyn Salgado and I am the first student mentor for the program, and I'm so excited to work with you guys. So my project idea is how it came to be. So about a little bit less of a month ago, I was involved in a hit and run. So I was thinking, well, in that process, why did it take so long to find the video? Because it ended up taking an additional 10 minutes just for me to find that certain clip where my face was kind of in fear. And it was very frustrating because wasting that time actually ended up just being completely worthless, because at the end of the day, I didn't see the license plate. I didn't get to really see the car. So my project idea is to basically have any certain moment of footage of like if anybody is in fear at all or happy, and to get that certain shot so that they can have that clip instead of wasting an additional 10 minutes on just trying to find it. So that's why I feel like we could either use it as in a facial analyzer, or we can use it through acceleration with a vehicle, such as braking or accelerating, that sort of kind of thing. And I actually remember a little while ago, I actually was in there was a crash in front of my house, and I actually happened to have the video. So, I know it's really small. I was trying to make it bigger, but you can see in the right corner that the guy was probably going over maybe 60 while the person was slowing down. And it was just a complete wreck. So I think it would be a really great idea to just kind of implement that accident into a project, and again, just finding that certain clip. But yeah, it's probably really buzzy, but there's the 2 accidents. And then, give me 1 second. So how we can implement this with our project is basically, we could use it through what's happening right now due to the election. So we could, because in certain states, you're allowed to record you being voted, so you can see if somebody is either doing voter fraud or again, in a social justice situation. So I think it would be a really great idea to implement this idea that I have for how we can use it now in our current state. And a few tools that we could use is Google does provide a vision API, and it also does provide a machine learning program that we can transfer a Cloudy cluster into this project. So that is my idea. And again, I just want to thank everybody for allowing me to have this opportunity to present my project and for allowing me to be here with all of you. And I'm so excited to work with you guys, and feel comfortable. Please feel free to contact me in any way. I did actually, in my next slide, I did actually create a Slack where we can support each other in any way. If you have any questions or you just need to talk to someone, I'm more than happy to help you in any way. And again, this is a little bit about me. You guys can read about it. But yeah, so I really hope to hear from you guys soon, and I'm so excited to work with you guys. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jocelyn. So Max, I know that you're up next, but while Max is getting prepared, does anyone have any questions for Jocelyn?
Yes, actually, for the voting things, I actually have some idea if you want to implement that. It would be pretty cool to do some like a blockchain voting systems. It would be very interesting to try.
Yeah. No, I agree completely, because a lot of what's going on in social media, a lot of people are posting who they're voting for. So I think it would be really cool to see if that there's somebody who, like, imagine that they're about to go into voting and they're threatened by somebody saying, you have to vote for this person, or, I'll do something. You can see that fear, you can see that person who's uncomfortable, and just kind of put them aside, be like, do you feel like that you are currently comfortable voting for the person that you're voting for, and questions like that. Because it's actually funny, when I went to vote on Tuesday, I had to redo it twice because my signature was wrong, which was so strange. But they're like, you have to keep on rewriting your signature. So I was like, okay, well, that's fine. But I think it would be a really cool idea.
Yeah, the blockchain will be very interesting because it can potentially, like, everybody can monitor each other, so there's no fraud to be happening in the first place. If you get really good hash, then it's almost impossible to be hacked.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree completely. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, Max, you're up. You just
sorry, I was muted. Yeah, so I have like one idea that I wanted to try, which is kinetic simulation of disease transmission. Basically, since COVID-19 comes, I realized the male and female have different fatal rate, like death rate, and also different ages have different response, and different age have different mobility, meaning how far they can travel, and how, if they're symptomatic or non-symptomatic, how they can transmit it. So most of the simulation doesn't take that into consideration. Then I'm thinking we can take all those different factors into consideration to make a rather accurate simulation to predict, to forecast in a sense how high the case is going to go, and we can basically, there's a red line. Of course, the hospital have a capacity. Once they reach over the capacity, we'll in a deep trouble. But so if we can prevent that from happening by doing a really accurate simulation, then we can save a lot of life in the future, not just this disease, as well as other disease in the future, plague in the future. So I would like to implement a realistic density distribution, age distribution, and modeling the commute, like how the people in the suburb go to the cities to work, or they go to certain certain supermarket. So, and also we can use this to model the current how should I say that, the current scenario, and then we can in a way predict the future with certain level of air uncertainties. And also, if you want to join me, we can maybe potentially play around with those ideas if you want to. GPT-3, which is pretty cool, open AI from Google, I think, and also WebMD diagnostic. Then it's a meme now, but people can use it, can have pretty accurate prediction if you know your symptom and describe it well, but average people can't. So it would be good to have a UI to based on some really simple input to give an accurate symptom description for WebMD. And also the data acquisition and statistic analysis based on Benfold laws. Basically, if the number distribution is not following this law, it could be a fraud. And also the context and article suggestion bot, which I think it would be interesting because, for instance, if I say I cannot love physics enough, a media just say breaking news: Max cannot love physics. So that would be cool to try as well. If you're interested, please contact me through the Slack in the HPC Slack.
Good.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Max. And Max is our second student mentor. He's actually a graduate student at the University of Texas. So up next is Janelle from EcoRise. So while they're getting prepared, Janelle and her partner, her specialist, Lissa, I've actually been working on at work, and they have an interesting idea. So, Janelle.
Yeah. So, how do we prepare our society for our changing environment? I apologize in advance for my barking dog. She's very needy in the evenings. So we want to rank environmental education needs by county in Texas and Georgia. And, you know, climate change is something that we can't exactly ignore forever. And research shows that education intervention is one of the most effective ways to change behavior in the future. So there are a lot of environmental education organizations, a lot of schools, and a lot of municipalities across the country that have different types of curriculum and projects to engage students K through 12 and even college students to learn about our changing environment and ways to help mitigate some of the most detrimental changes. So by looking at social, economic, and environmental data, we can determine what places need this education the most and which places are most in need of these programs. So we want the scoring system to tell us, you know, where in Texas, where in Georgia should these programs be implemented. And we want to do that by looking at geospatial data. So the ultimate goal is to do a visualization for gap analysis. And there's a lot of available data that's free on the internet. We have some social vulnerability indexes. We have environmental variables as well as different county characteristics based on the last census. So if you're interested in some mapping, if you're interested in creating some type of ranking system, let us know if you have questions in the Slack.
All right. Thank you very much, Gino. Up next will be Josh from Omnibond. Now, Josh is our systems administrator, web administrator extraordinaire. So if there's anything on the page that you think there's a problem with, privately message him and tell him.
I get a lot of them anyway, so that's fine. Half of my week is fixing things that I've already messed up, so that's okay.
Hey, Jamie, I'm sorry, Josh. Hey, Jamie, is there a collection of all the slides and all the team stuff projects posted somewhere their students can go through before they make their choice of which team they'd like to join?
They will be made available. It is repository has not yet been created. However, on the main Hack HPC site, and if you click on the hub, the projects are listed down at the bottom, all the ones that I have received. But yes, the slides will be given later as well.
All right. So pardon me, Josh, I just wanted to get a clarification for our student answer here, student question here.
Great questions. Thanks for checking. Okay, so like Jamie said, my name is Josh Kissel. I work at Omnibond along with Boyd Wilson. And so Omnibond makes a lot of different softwares, one of which is Cloudy Cluster that you might be using here. Another one is Traffic Vision, which uses machine vision to kind of gather all this data on a roadway, and you can kind of see it working here in this slide. And GDOT, Georgia Department of Transportation, uses this data gathering tool and has all of this data about their their traffic on their highways, but they don't have a dashboard to kind of show it and to kind of glean information from it. So our project, myself and Boyd Wilson, we kind of want to look at all that data and create a dashboard visualization that can help GDOT answer different traffic related questions. And that might be, where is traffic bad? Where do you place emergency vehicles? Because we know that this area gives the most amount of stopped vehicles or anything like that. Where can you plan future expansion, or kind of anything else that they can figure out, or you can think of using this data. So that is our goal, is to come up with some type of dashboard for that.
All right. Thank you very much, Josh. And so now we'll move on to Dr. Caldwell. The floor is yours, Dr. Caldwell. I've known her for many years.
Okay, I'm here. This took me a moment. Okay, this is my first time participating in a hackathon, and I want to thank Dr. Linda Hayden for getting me to do this. And I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I do want to have people on my team. What I'm looking at is a COVID-19 projection, and this is the time of year where people do a lot of traveling, especially I usually travel to Atlanta 3 and 4 times a year. But this year, due to the COVID-19 outbreak, I wasn't able to travel. So this project can be personal to you if you're one of the ones who do travel to Atlanta to see family or for different reasons. So I want to try to be able to project then what would COVID-19 look like, Thanksgiving, Christmas, at the beginning of the year, some of the dates next year. Will it be beneficial, or will I be able to travel to Atlanta, or will you be able to travel to Atlanta to see family and friends? So that's primarily what we want to do, is a predictive analytics study on the projection of COVID-19. And right now we want to use different data sets, but we have identified several, such as the New York Times GitHub repository. That's one that we plan to use, but we also plan to use different ones to compare the projections to see which one would probably give us the best numbers, but primarily just to see when, based on our projection, we should be able to travel to Atlanta to visit family and friends. So if you want to join my team, please do.
Thank you so much, Dr. Caldwell. All right. So I know that we have a couple more. Now we have Janetti, we have James, and I know I'm missing someone. You're hiding, aren't you, Rich? So what I'm going to say is, Rich, are you ready to go?
Yep. Sorry, I've just been doing some Cloudy Cluster stuff in the background. Wait for you to really need me to go. So, sorry, let me get my screen to a slide.
Now, Rich has worked with us, I think, since the beginning. So Rich is by far is definitely a veteran mentor. So, and a really good guy.
Thank you, sir. That'll get you another Benjamin on the way.
Okay.
It's just, I don't know what happened to my slides. So,
do you want me to come back to you and give you a moment?
No. I've got. I just went back to my original deck. So, share screen. I would like to just preface this. If you can still see my video, I changed my background. I am a volunteer with Operation Underground Railroad. organization. They specialize. Oh man.
Yeah, I was going to say we're not seeing your video. It says screen sharing, but this is Murphy, y'all. So
this is his
demos.
project. So imagine it's the dead of night and you see white letterings on your screen.
All right, Rich, I'll tell you what. Why don't I give you a minute here because I think you locked up. Yep, he's good and frozen. So I'm going to pick on one of my former students. Now she might want to go ahead and jump up there before I say her name. Yeah, you froze up, Rich. We're going to give you a second to get things going there. So Janetti, would you mind going ahead and going?
I'm trying to share my screen, but it's not popping up. Computer, please.
Did Rich take over our screen and then cause issues? Oh my goodness.
Well, it might still think I'm sharing. It might, yeah, let me try sharing and unsharing.
I tell you what, I'll do it. And that way I can, I should
you bump
take
me out?
control and
There
then I should be able to let it go. All right.
I think it's more so my computer than you guys because my computer has been slow today. I don't know why. Yeah, it's just there.
Okay. All right. Not a problem. We have one more. So that's Janetti will come right back to you. So let's go ahead and go with James. James, are you ready to go?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. How's everybody? Let's see. See if I can share my screen here. Can you see my screen? Awesome. So my project or my proposed project, I want to focus on economic disparities, particularly as it pertains to COVID-19 in the Atlanta Fulton County area. So we want to examine how COVID-19 impacts the economic disparity in the Atlanta area. So how is COVID-19 affecting those low income persons? How does economic disparities affect COVID-19 health outcomes in the Atlanta area? So how does COVID-19 affect a person's ability to pay for healthcare, execute their co-pays, that kind of thing in the Atlanta area? And specifically, which demographics in that area are most vulnerable to those economic disparities? And Emory University has some great data sets on health disparities and health equality. So we want, if we can use those data sets to kind of look at and analyze how economics is affecting those economic disparities, particularly high-risk vulnerability areas.
Okay.
Any questions? I'll be great and willing to answer them for you.
All right.
Question. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
So how do you go ahead by taking the acquired data? How do you potentially get the data from and process it?
Hold on.
James, are you still there?
Did somebody say something?
Yes.
My volume left me.
Max is actually saying, how are you going to process that data?
So if we could look at specifically, so if we can see based on the demographics, so if we can pull in how a person's income, look at a person's income and compare that to their ability, or look at that, how that affects their ability to pay for certain health services. So let's say they go in for certain COVID tests, that kind of thing. So how is that COVID test affecting their income, their ability to pay for certain services, so to speak? And there are a lot of ways to, and different variables we can look at that, but that's just an example of it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, James. And up next,
Sharing here. There we go.
let's see if Rich will work here. You gonna go for it, Rich?
I think I'm ready if he needs more time.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw him.
I'll give it a try one more time, and if I lock up, then you'll be ready to go.
Okay.
I'm like sharing as little as I can because I think I've got like 45 browser tabs open. Okay. Okay, I don't know exactly where I cut off the last time, but I think I was kind of talking a little bit about Project Operation Underground Railroad, or the organization. Can you guys see my slide now?
Yes, we see your slides.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yay. Okay, so I changed my my virtual background to the organization logo, which is not actually affiliated, but I am a volunteer with Operation Underground Railroad, which was started by a guy named Tim Ballard, who's former CIA. He now leads like special ops teams into other countries and even places in the United States to actually rescue people who have been trafficked, women, children, vulnerable people, to liberate them from these basically modern day slavery operations. And so one of the things that I just want to preface this, if I didn't have an FBI file before this week, I definitely do now, because I've been contacting a lot of different agencies in Washington, D.C., including the FBI, for Freedom of Information Act access to various data sets with the Department of Justice and multiple different organizations that are in touch with protection of children and various things. So my thought was to do a couple of things, and it's actually evolved somewhat this week. But the idea was to build an application that would allow the people that you see listed there to be able to start to monitor, track, and look at places that are of higher risk, in especially like focusing on Atlanta and other big cities that could eventually spread out to other metro areas. Now, one of the things that I have been learning is that because of COVID, much of the transfer of people being trafficked has gone like almost 100% online. And so the app could also, instead of just focusing on like a physical heat map, could also start to identify sites that are of higher risk, or activity online that parents could be looking for that could maybe help preventatively identify places that their children might be going online that could lead them into scenarios. And then the other piece that is very interesting that I've been learning is that there's a lot of stuff that people are not asking people. Let me back that up. Official people in a helping capacity are not doing sort of like post-rescue interviews to really gather consistent data points to help determine where people are, how did they contact you? Where did you meet them? How did you meet them? What was their first point? What was their technique? Now, some of these people are super traumatized, and I can understand that you don't sit down and, shine the bright light in their face and interrogate them as soon as they get rescued from these situations. But at some point, that kind of intake data needs to be gathered so that these can be prevented in the future. So in summary, not just plotting the data, but I think building intelligence around the high risk, and this could, morph into some machine learning that could help identify keywords and activities online that could help, again, predict certain things, but also help maybe build like an intake type of thing that consistently would gather the relevant data points so that these things would get smarter and better at preventing this horrible crime from happening in the first place. So I'm sure that that's more than 3 minutes. So I relinquish my time, but yeah, I'm hoping that we get some momentum and we can make a difference.
Excellent. Thank you, Rich. And so now we'll have Janetti. And after Janetti, we will have Cole. Again, make sure you're writing down which projects you are interested in. As soon as Cole finishes, we'll have a little period of a break / time for you to pick which group you want to go into by me opening the breakout rooms. So without further ado, one of my absolute favorite students in the world, Janetti.
Oh. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So my project, in lieu of the fact that October has passed and October is the month for breast cancer awareness, I'm proposing to do prediction modeling for breast cancer. So the gist of this project is to gather data from a patient or a person based off of their history, because breast cancer isn't just culminating from just one thing. It could be a person's history, it can be their diet, so on and so forth. So using their history and using prediction equations to in order to come up with a statistical analysis so that you can predict what the possible chance of a person having breast cancer would be. Now, I'm sure all of us know the detriments of breast cancer. I cannot go forward. Okay, let me escape from this. It's not letting me escape.
I page down.
It's not letting me do that either. Hold on, let me stop sharing and let me reshare.
I told you all, Murphy, man.
That's what I was just about to say.
Okay, can everybody see this?
There we go. Now we can see it.
Okay, I'm just not going to go in presentation mode at all. So why do the prediction? Well, as you can see from this map, this is the rate of all of female breast cancer within America. As you can see, the rate is rising. I believe it's rising a lot quicker than a lot of people believe. In fact, from the CDC, they're saying that they predict that even 1,200 men this year are going to be predicted to contract breast cancer, which is starting to become a new high. So why should we do the prediction modeling? What does that do? Well, first and foremost, breast cancer is the #1 cancer amongst women. So knowing exactly where to get the data set at and where to start at is going to be the #1 thing. So we do want to have the history and the knowledge of women. Did their mother or grandmother contract breast cancer? Have they ever given birth? Are they premenopausal? Are they menopausal, postmenopausal? All of those factors play a part in the prediction modeling for breast cancer. And in addition to, once a patient or a person knows what kind of history, what their history is leading towards, be it their diet or be it something biological that they can't even control, that leads to awareness. And that awareness can further lead into prevention. And prevention is the #1 goal. Have them to understand what their situation is now so that in the future they can prevent breast cancer from even becoming a thing for them. And so knowing their history will help them for the future. And that is essentially my project. Does anybody have any questions?
All right, excellent.
Awesome. Let me stop sharing my screen. What do you say?
Oh, I said great job.
Oh, thank you. You too. I loved your project.
Oh, thank you.
And now Cole.
Hey everyone, I'm Cole McKnight. I work with everyone at Omnibond. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and kind of take you all down something I've been thinking about for the last, I guess, day or two. I guess this is probably the thing that a lot of people here, the last thing we want to do this weekend and think about this weekend, because it's very stressful for some, but we have an election going on. There's kind of some weird things going on with it. One thing that I've seen going around on social media is this. So this is the Michigan Voter Information Center, and you can track people's ballots. And so some of y'all may have seen this, but something that's been going around has basically been, you can put in information for this person, and there's a couple people that they've done this with. This is just one of them. This lady named Donna Bridges. The important thing is she was born in 1901. And so you can actually search her information, and it says that she's not only registered, but she submitted a ballot. And if you were born in 1901, I think she's actually older than the oldest living person in the United States. And so there was a ballot submitted in her name and it was received. And there's kind of two sides to this. If y'all haven't been kind of keeping up with it, one side is saying, oh my God, this is terrible. There's tons of voter fraud going on. Let's stop counting mail-in ballots. And then the other side is saying, oh my God, we have to count every ballot. And so I don't like it when data is used to manipulate people, and when one person like this, because even though this is bad, this is only kind of one instance, and even though I guess probably tens of people have been found, or fake ballots have been found, I wanted to kind of do something about it. So my project that I want to do is I want to kind of look at voter registration data to try to find how prevalent this is, whether it's, I think that at the minimum, there's probably going to be a couple hundreds. So that's kind of a drop in the bucket. It won't really matter. But who knows? Maybe it is a huge thing. Maybe there are trends. I'm not sure. So basically what I've kind of done as far as data goes, first, I wanted to do, of course, I wanted to do Georgia because that's the state that, number one, they still haven't finished counting. I think they're almost done. I'm not exactly sure. I wanted to do Georgia, and also because it's HPC in the city. So this is their voter registration list. It has all these nice fields. The problem with this is the processing time is 1 to 2 weeks. And so I wasn't really thinking about this until a couple days, like I guess yesterday was when I had this idea. And so that's not going to work. And number two, the statewide voter list is $250. So I didn't really want to pay that. And also the whole processing time. So Georgia is kind of out of the question. But I was able to find, let's see, I was able to find this data for Pennsylvania. Let's see, here it is. So you can also purchase a full voter registration list from Pennsylvania, and it was only $20, and it was really, it was instant access. And it has all of these fields. So I'll just show you kind of what that looks like if you can see my file browser. So it has all of these text files for different counties in Pennsylvania. And each county has, let's see if I can find, where are you? There you are. So if you see this notepad, I don't know if you can see this, but this is the actual raw data. So you have all the stuff about all of these every registered voter, and I guess this is Adams County. It has their date of birth, it has their voting history, it has all of these things that basically describes them as a voter. And let me go back to my PowerPoint. So what I wanted to do is take all of this data and first just analyze it and see kind of what at risk, basically find registered voters that are kind of at risk for fraud. For example, it's really easy to just use the year. That's how people have been doing it so far, just using the year. It's like if people are older than the oldest living person in the United States, their ballots are they're definitely registered like fraudulently. But there may be other things. Maybe they voted in 1965 and haven't voted since. Or I don't know if that was an election year, but you know what I mean. And so basically find kind of registered voters that are that might be fraudulent, and then use a use Cloudy Cluster for that, and then use it also with a web request job to basically go to this website right here. It's about what?
We're coming up on time, by the way.
Oh, sorry. Yep, this is basically it. So we're going to use this ballot tracker and figure out and basically look at the data, see if the fraudulent voters have submitted a ballot, and see how likely everything is. So anyways, so I'm not going to keep going, but that's the project. Thank you for your time. Let me know if you'd like to work on this.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So, and if you wouldn't mind, stop sharing there. So
Yes.
before we go forward, I just want to say thank you to all of the mentors. So I'll do the golf clap so I don't make a loud noise in the mic. Thank you for all of them.